Hello, Santhosh Narayanan, and welcome to Galattaplus.
Hello, welcome back to our studio.
Yes,
It's
this is
been
the
a long.
studio that takes like the longest to get anywhere. I think it's in this place in Chennai that Santhosh. It should be called Santhosh Narayanan Nagar. It's like this wonderful place that you have your house here, and then you're building a studio next door. So it's like it's going to become your area soon.
No, but I've been here for almost 15 years now. It's become more like a little a big home for me. This whole area, and almost everybody who works with me regularly is staying around this area. So I'm happy.
You're happy. So Santhosh, the main thing here is what we're going to talk about is apart from we're going to talk about your first ever concert, which is going to take place in Malaysia on the 18th. But before that, I want to just ask you something. I get the feeling that Santhosh has been a bit low profile for a couple of years, even though you have been doing movies, even though there's been there, but somehow there's this feeling that there's been a bit of a low profile. Do you kind of have you been under the radar a little?
Yeah, the main thing was that I was working on two projects that really I was devoting more than 60-70% of my time, and
Right.
there was a big backlog from the pandemic. Obviously everybody knows. So I was deliberately under the radar for the last almost 1.5 years. So
Right.
it was a great soul searching time for me too, and I had a small corona episode in between. So even then I was like, I really wanted, that is when I actually wanted to start performing. I was looking at many performances, and at that point there was no performance happening across the world. That is when it really hit me. So yeah, so to answer your question, I was very busy working on this big project for the last 1.5 years or so.
Right. Right. You can't tell us what that big project is?
Yeah, of course I can. It's pretty much out in the open now. I've been working on Project K
Okay.
with Mr. Nagashwin and Prabhas and Deepika Padukone and Amitabh Bachchan sir, and it has been an amazing experience.
Right.
And I was literally, we were slogging for almost a year. It is an amazing movie. They've shot it so well, and they've given me the responsibility of composing the music, the songs, and everything. So yeah, that was the reason. And yeah, people have started finding that I've been literally under the radar. I was a bit going around doing interviews, doing everything just even before the pandemic, and
Right.
was keeping low for this.
Right. Right. So you said you did some soul searching during the pandemic.
Yeah.
What did that result in?
Uh, I felt that personally I have certain, like, there's an approach when you do a song or make whatever work, right? So sometimes we kind of wander into different areas. Sometimes we wander too much that we lose track of what actually we wanted to do on day one. So I thought that I mentally I came back to day one
Right.
during the pandemic, and when I was just thinking about stuff and everything was happening well, and I was actually I would not say that I was doing stuff that I wouldn't have wanted to do like 10 years ago, but mentally the approach, I was constantly delivering. There was a lot of deliverables in the last year, especially like almost there were like 10 movies that released last year.
Right.
And I at one point I wasn't even tweeting about what I was doing. And then when I had corona, and I was staying in the studio in this place for 5-6 days, and that's when I was like, what are we doing here? Are we still being true to our soul, and are we doing music that would represent us in the best way? And that is when I also decided to do a lot of indie music.
Right.
And that is when this whole explosion happened within me, and I'm very happy for it. 1 year later, I'm very happy that I've done a lot of work, and most of it is not released yet.
Right.
So I'm sure that I will be happy when we release it.
Right. You said that, this is you got this idea, you watched a lot of performances and you got this idea of doing a concert. Why is it that you never, like, that idea? Every musician kind of does a concert, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like, why is it that Santhosh Narayanan has never done a concert?
I was a live musician. You might have known
Right,
before
yeah.
doing Atakati, but it has been an amazing experience. Like, I've devoted myself to to all the films that I was making. I was probably I would call myself one of the most fortunate and lucky composers to get some of the greatest directors in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And they were also doing their first films, their second film,
Yeah.
and so on. So I was really busy doing this and I was enjoying this. I was just going around making new songs, creating scores for movies. And it was in 2018 that I actually wanted to do live shows after Vada Chennai. And there was one point around Kabali where I was really trying to get something. And there was a big political shift in Tamil Nadu. So we had to slow down that. And post 2018, I started becoming desperate to do a show. And I also wanted a body of work. I wanted the promoters to be happy and the people to have like a body of work that they can enjoy. So I felt post 2020, especially after that Corona episode, I just wanted to go there out and perform.
Right.
I wasn't too worried about the audience or the number of people who are going to listen. I just wanted to go park my bike somewhere and start performing, that kind of stuff. I was actually trying to go into this Dave Chappelle mode at one point, and I'm so lucky that we are starting off from Malaysia, where there's a big, amazingly supportive, like it is like the Chennai cricket crowd. The equivalent of that in the concert world is the Malaysian crowd that supports Tamil music. So I'm very happy for that.
Right. And apart from this, one of the specialities of this concert is that this may be the first time that a musician is performing a concert that is going to have songs by other composers. Like, so when singers usually go on tour, they of course include a lot of songs by many composers, but when composers themselves go on tour, they typically perform like from their catalog, right? It's like that's been the trend. So what made you say, I want to kind of expand this, not just Sana songs, but other songs as well? And you're doing indie songs as well, but we'll come to that later.
Yeah. I love the whole fraternity here. Like everybody knows it. The Tamil music fraternity is very friendly, and we always done work between each other, and there is great love between all composers. So I always felt that, like, I've never thought it like how you are putting it. I've never thought about this, but this is what I really wanted to do. And I don't know about the statistics of it. I really wanted to perform songs that people loved. And for example, if D is coming on stage and if she's not singing Rowdy Baby, that is the biggest song of D.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have a version of Rowdy Baby that I want to present, and I've asked Sivan sir also to listen to it. We have an amazing version. It is original, true to the original, but it has some of our elements to it too.
Oh, so you kind of reworked on?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not going to change too much of the original. And like, for example, I've Anirudh is an amazing friend of mine. He's you know him, right? He's just rocking the world now. And there are some songs that I've sung for him. I also want to present that to the audience. It is just a natural reaction to my career or whatever, like the last 10 years in the film industry. I wish I can do more actually. I want to, that is why I've called this Sounds of the South rather than Santhosh Narayanan live or something.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I just want to present the sounds that we have in our land, and also present our movie work, songs that people already know.
Right.
And there's no planning around that. This is only when you ask the question, does it seem like it is, I wanted to do this, but this is really what I want to do.
So how far back are you going? I mean, you mentioned Sivan, you mentioned Anirudh. Like, are you covering songs that you have personally been like your contemporaries, or are you also going back a little further in time?
We are going up till MSV.
Oh,
sir.
that
So,
far
yeah,
back.
there
Nice.
is.
Okay.
I can tell you actually, there's no big secret here, right? There is a song called Kannamma in Kala.
Yeah.
That the word Kannamma, I was specific that the song should be called Kannamma because Kannamma Kanavilaya is MSV sir's, for me, his my most favorite of his composition. I feel like that is his greatest. That is in my mind. That is and there is an Anantu version of the song that never released. So every week, like I'll be like calling Anantu, I'll be like, Anna, please sing that Kannama for me. It's so emotional. Like I've never gotten so emotional in 30 seconds ever listening to anything. So you're also performing that, and that will become the Kannama of Kala. And like it is, how do you call it? Like it is what I love, and I want to present it, and people love it actually. Like I've always looked at concerts where singers go crazy with so many different kinds of, and I'll always like wondered like how it, if we can do it. And every composer I've spoken to, every composer that I've mentioned, and they're all happy that we are doing this, and I love the camaraderie, and I think at the end of the day, the audiences, if they feel emotional, happy, if there is a dynamics of emotion in a concert, I think that's all we would want from a concert, apart from all the glitz and all the lights and all that. So we want to put that in the forefront.
So are you reworking any Rahman or Ilayaraja songs?
Not in this concert, because this is my first concert. I want to present the songs, and I want to see how people react to it. And luckily we have.
They're going to react nicely to it. I mean, the way you're describing it, it sounds awesome.
Right, the band is amazing. I would consider myself as the weakest link in the band. It is an amazing band, and like we have, I'm actually serious. Like the dynamics in the band, the kinds of genres that the band can go into with full authenticity. Like we have an amazing jazz band within our band. Then we have an amazing heavy metal band. Then we are going into this whole melodic zone where we have all of this Ennadi Mayavi and Kannamma and all those Aval and all the great songs that these amazing singers have sung for us. So I feel like I want to present this band to everyone. I'm so excited for the band and the performance, and I'm sure this is going to be one of the best bands that has ever graced shows in this space. So I'm very happy to be with them.
Right. So what is the difference between doing a song in a studio and singing or whatever it is, and performing on stage? Because I'm mainly talking about how do you tinker with the oral and acoustic aspect of it. I'm very interested in that. Like for example, here you have total control over it. The person who's listening is going to listen on like either some earphones or maybe whatever it is, what system they have. So there's a controlled element, right? So do you have to amplify something for a concert? Do you have to, like supposing there's a very gentle line of melody, do you have to kind of make it stronger, something like that? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think that first thing, you are such a triggering person when you ask this, because you're asking me the questions that will actually like get me so excited. This is one of those, because I actually wanted to talk about this, but I never gotten the opportunity. We did a rehearsal of the songs that we had. I did a mix of the rehearsals. I can actually play a few bits if you want.
Right.
So for example, we did this A Surali. Vijay Narayan is an amazing singer. We had a performance, live performance in a hall.
Right.
We just casually recorded it. I come back home. I just mixed it with my current ear and all my gear and all that, and I listened to the original. The rehearsal sounds so much better than the original. I was shocked, and they went to the next song. I go song after song after song. Then I come to realize that when there is a performance, when you capture it in one take, the energy that you get is clearly unmatched with any recording that I've done. Like I can literally I can show you the two files actually.
Can you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Let me see if I've synced it.
Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Perfect. So there's a song called Karupi, and there's so many songs where the performance by the band actually adds so much. I found that was a great reveal for me.
Right.
And after starting the rehearsals, I've changed the way I started composing and working on songs. Now I'll be like, is this possible? How would this be in an environment where we have more musicians together? So that actually, like we've always said, every musician will know this, but for me to understand in my own music, how much of a difference, because Ace really has 5 tracks in it.
Right.
The original, not the original, the recording. So you would think like 5, what difference is it going to make? But then I'll probably show you the ending. Like I think better heard. So I got the song
கொரடி ஓ வயசத்தான் தித்திப்பா தின்ன உசுரத்தான் கத்தி சொன்ன பொட்ட கோழி அழகுல என்ன கொத்தியா
goes to this.
தலைவன் கனவுல மாட்டிக்க கொஞ்சம் பொழக்கிற விடுடி முட்டை ஓட்டு மனசுல கண்ண தூக்கி எறிகிற எட்டி சதறிற கிழறி ஏ சொல்லி 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 சொல்லி
So that we would never get in a studio doing it with 5 different people at 5 different sessions.
Right.
So and this was just one take. This was done in
Just
5
explain
minutes.
to me, why won't you get it in a studio?
We can get it in a studio if they are all together.
Okay, because
I'm talking now. We use.
This is more logistics
yeah,
then. Okay.
Yeah, we just call the drummer. Then we actually never usually call the drummer. We're always programming it.
yeah,
Then we have a loop. Then everybody likes the loop. It is like that, right? That's how it works.
right.
But then when I was doing this whole show thing, for me the biggest takeaway is that almost every other song, there is something that is not there in the original. You can listen to Spotify and this show is definitely going to be so much better and there's more to it.
Right.
We have the soul of the song, as you might have heard.
Yeah.
It is all there,
Yeah.
but there is something else. There's a small difference from the original and it's definitely going to be amplified in a
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Like how you felt is going to be slightly amplified, and when you have like 10,000 people around you, it is even more amplified, right?
Right. Right.
So this is one of the major parts. I'm so happy that you asked. I'm like kind of wandering here and there.
No,
Sorry,
it's
like,
fascinating.
I love this.
Yeah.
I wanted somebody to ask this.
I want you to
think.
geek out. I want you to geek out on music. So that's like whatever you can tell me, you can.
Yeah,
You know,
it's an amazing feeling, and we have such performers,
right.
and like people like Vijay Narayanan, who's not doing mainstream shows now. I want the world to see like how Pradeep is now blowing up.
Yeah.
The mainstream show scene didn't know how great a singer Pradeep was.
Yeah.
Now he's owning it.
Yeah.
I know we have seen shows where it will be just the three of us and Pradeep singing on full, like you'll be doing on full kacheri with just 3 people in the audience. He didn't care. He kept doing it, and now I'm so happy that it's blowing up for him, and like Sid is blowing up, Andrea's blowing, all my friends. I'm so happy that they are all blowing up in the live scene.
Right. Since you mentioned MSV earlier, there was like a live band, right? So they were usually, if they wanted flutes, they call the same people. If they wanted drums, I mean, there was like a
band, yeah.
there was a certain orchestra that was pretty much at their comfort level. They use the same band
Yeah.
for all these things, right?
Yeah.
But now it's a little different. You kind of say, okay, this is, let's say, Project K. I want this kind of sound for this. So I'm going to pick and choose the musicians from the world that I want. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So is it also that there is more give and take now, that because you're kind of getting fresher inputs?
Yeah, absolutely. I see that the world is now moving into a more collaborative space,
Right.
in terms of music and what new instrumentalists can bring. Like for example, for Project K, I'm literally traveling the world. So last year, if you had seen, I would have been in different countries without any reason. I was just traveling for Project K, recording a lot of tribal music, and then coming to the urban areas, because it's a vast movie in many sense. I don't want to dwell much into the story, but so we were recording a lot of musicians across the world. I was so happy to find so much raw talent. Thanks to Nag and the production Vaijayanti movies, they have been really supportive of me. They were like, work with anybody, just bring me the soul. That's all we want from you, and that gave me like. I was just running across the world. I couldn't even tell them because I didn't want to inform anybody about this project or whatever. So because it's so huge, I don't want to be spilling the beans on anything. So I was just recording musician after musician after musician for the past 1.5 years, and it was amazing. Like it brings some, like for example, like Jigadanda, the double X, the if you saw the glimpse, I recorded a Chennai based band.
Right.
and they did amazing work with the percussions, and there's no click, they just played, and I did the whole thing about their music, and it brought a new dimension to what I do.
Right.
So I always feel that new musicians, they all have a story, right? Whatever you do, like if you are an interviewer, the questions you ask is rooted from your life experiences.
Yeah,
So it always, like, I'm getting excited whenever I meet you. I get excited with your questions because you have this
Same here,
this
actually.
triggering method, not in the bad way, but you trigger the right. And I've seen that even people starting to appreciate that you're asking the right questions to whoever you are interviewing. So that brings the same happens to us when we do collaborative session. I always call it collaboration rather than an opportunity or whatever. So they always I'm more like I'm putting together the collaborative energies of people, and I'm composing the music part of it. Even though I'm telling them what to play, each person has their own soul in it when they play any piece.
Right.
The Ace Surely, this is a new drummer that we have. You can listen to it, right?
yeah.
You can hear the difference.
Yeah.
So I believe that it brings out the best in today, and today we are in the right spot to do all of that.
Right. Let's talk about some of the independent music that you're going to focus on this in this concert.
I also worked with a lot of musicians from Malaysia, especially for these two films, Kabali and Kala. So I've invited, the first calls I made was to them, because I was like, when they said Malaysia, I was like freaking out. I was like, yes, this is the spot. And then I called my friends who are going to, who I wanted to be on stage and perform. Yogi B is performing, and Roshan Jamrock is coming. All the associates of mine from Malaysia for Kabali Kala have been invited. I've invited Mr. Daki for him to. He's an amazing performer.
Right.
So I also wanted them to explore their music, at least through my songs. Like if there is a song, say Kala songs going on, I've asked Roshan to just go wild with his own stuff at one place. So I want to show glimpses of their indie space, because I've always gone to concerts, I've always visited venues, clubs, and I've always been there supporting the indie scene.
Right.
I'll go unannounced and I'll support the artists that I like. So I've always found that the energy in a very small indie gig is sometimes so amazing that I get so inspired by it, and I want to do a bit of it in my concert too. In the long run, I also want to have 2 concerts going, one with all the indie work, and it should be like a festival. This is my dream for my concerts. I want to do both simultaneously, so we can bring in more crowd from the other countries too. People who don't even speak our language should be able to come, and I think we are in the right space with amazing songs like Natu Natu, which is like going crazy across the world. People are loving it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and that's one of the reasons we are talking in English, because we want this to kind of get to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
So, but tell me one thing, to get a feel of this, let's take somebody like I don't know, Eric Clapton, right? So if you listen to an Eric Clapton album, any song, it's going to be like a 3-minute, 4-minute song, right? But when you go and see Eric Clapton on stage, he's going to have an expanded like guitar solo or something like that, or there'll be an extended percussion bit or something like that. You're talking something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
There will be, and for example, one of my songs, Area Gana, Enga Veetu Kuttu Vilakke, it is a rooted Ghana song, and we are making a Junoon kind of a Coke Studio meets Junoon kind of a vibe with the song, which is 9 to 10 minutes long.
Right.
It is crazy. The Ghana Muthu who's going to perform with us in the show, he is one of the best performers that I've ever seen. Like he can own the stage, and nobody knows about this. That is one of the biggest excitements for me. Is like we have like 2-3 performers. Like when I saw Pradeep going big, I was happy. I was like, yes. It's not surprising, but see, like the feeling that you have when you watch an amazing movie and you recommend it to somebody and they like it, and you're like, you feel like you've directed the movie, right? So that's how happy I feel, and I want Ghana Muthu to blow up in the space. That guy is crazy, he's talented, he's an amazing singer, writer, performer. So all of these elements will come together, and we cannot sing the exact same version as in YouTube or Spotify, the official release.
Right.
Sometimes it's good when you have like an amazing performance going, a dance going, and if it's all set for some tempo and all that, it is good to have the same length going. But we would, for more than 98% of the songs, we are going crazy with the length. We are not bothered by the length of the song.
Nice, nice. So it's really going to be like for music freaks. Like that
of course.
kind of like
Yeah.
yeah, because a lot of times people go there for a bigger version of the song that they know.
Yeah.
So now you're giving them more now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to be crazy. Like, for example, Nerupuda, we have this version that we never release. What we hear is one version, right? We have this long version of Nerupuda, which is, for me, I always felt like, oh, we should have released this version, because we never thought, we thought that song is like a theme, we just drop it. But then it blew up. We didn't plan it, but then by the time we thought of releasing the other version, this already blew up, and we were like, okay, let's not do it too much. Let's not like, it will look like we're riding on the wave or something. So we have that version.
What's wrong with riding on a wave? Everybody does that.
No, it's like how Ranjit and I think, right? We'll be like, no, we shouldn't. It's art. We have this weird way of looking at things, and we're like, okay, let's
Yeah, but that's art too. Because I saw like you were playing the song for me earlier.
Yeah.
And I saw the same song V1, V2, version 1, version 2, version 3, version
11?
4.
That was version 11.
There was version 11. So I'm like, okay, so what is in all these versions? I want to hear all these versions because I want to know what are the changes and what are the things that you tried.
That is one of my. I always archive things. Every little change I do, I save it, because we have hard drives, right? All it takes is hard drive space, and music is like my entire movie biography or filmography will be like 10 terabytes or so. That's nothing, right? In the scale of things. So I always keep saving versions. Nerupuda was at version 32.
The one that we heard in the movie?
No.
Ah.
The one that we didn't hear in the movie.
Oh, okay.
It was in version 32. I was just playing it to my good friend. I was like, look where we have come from, where. And I played that to him. And I wanted to show him like A versus B, and I went to version 1. He's like, I like version 1 better. Even while playing to it, I was like, okay, this sounds better, because technically the music was good, but there was some mixed thing that we kept changing. It became worse than actually it was. And then I started showing it to everybody. Everybody would choose version 1.
Right.
Then we let go of version 32. And I'm talking about like version 16 or 17 that we are performing in the show.
Nice.
And we have made a good version out of it.
Yeah.
We found what was wrong with it. And it's a live version, right? Like heavy metal, live, and like a big stage. I love the...
Right. I want you to demonstrate, just for a layman,
Okay.
what would be the difference between like a version 1 and a version 2? Just give me one bit that, does version 1 already have Nerupada to a large extent like we hear in the end?
Nerupada, what you hear is version 1.
Right. So, but I'm saying what is version 2? Like, would it have different interludes? Would it have something different? What
Yeah, it will have a different, it might have different lengths.
Okay.
Totally. Like for example, A Surali that we played,
Yeah,
it
right.
has this outro, right?
Right.
A Surali, that outro is never there in the
Right.
movie, right? So sometimes we give them the song to the director for shoot, and they live with it for a year sometimes, like when the shoot is happening.
Yeah.
Any change you make sometimes is not approved. Even like when I look at a movie and then they change the edit, I'll be like, I like the other one before, like the first version better and all that. So so many times it has happened. Sometimes I would feel like it is so much better. You shouldn't have it in my voice. I have fought for removing my voice in so many songs. Sometimes the director will be like, no, your voice has a soul to it and all that. I'll be like, please, I don't want people to troll me. This is a bad record. And then I'll re-record the song. They'll be like, no, give me the other version. It has something, so I want to keep. So it is more of a joint call, right? We are working for a director for the script. So sometimes, so those versions I can show even in the show. Like I can have an interlude that was not there.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting because it takes X amount of time to make 32 versions, right?
Yeah.
And one could argue, like saying that instead of doing 32 versions of a song, why don't you make another song for another movie, or go for another film? But you're kind of living with a song for a long period and making
Yeah.
sure that
Yeah.
it's kind of, you know, just not till it leaves your system, you kind of stay with it.
Yeah. So I want to be personally happy with the song.
Right.
My music gets better with my own understanding of music. That's how I feel.
Right.
And I always want to be very true or honest to what I can do today.
Right.
I don't want to underplay. I don't want to like try and do something that I can't do. You'd never see me like trying to overdo something, trying to go into this sound that is actually working. If something is popular, me trying to emulate something, it will never happen.
Right.
Only if I am totally in that vibe, if I'm sure that I can do it, will I ever attempt that. So because it is somebody else's world, somebody has created the world for themselves.
Right.
Like for example, like somebody like A.R. Rahman, like sir, he has created his own sonic world. So I would try my best to not emulate the world unless it is soulful and is actually in that space.
Right.
So I should understand how he thinks, the whole process of how he looks at people, the love, the harmony, the peace. It's from all of those, right?
Right.
If I'm not all of those, I wouldn't be attempting it just for the sound's sake.
Right.
So that's how I look at the whole music space. So I'm also growing as a musician because I'm meeting so many amazing musicians.
Right.
So as we grow, our space slowly expands into territories, and that's why I also love making independent music.
I do think, like right from the first time I listened to your songs in Attakati, I kind of, wow, this is really fresh and new, because I still remember the first time I listened to Aase Oru Pulvelli, and there was such a gentle sonic sound space to that thing. You know, it was like it was almost like they were just uttering the lyrics, like not singing.
Yeah.
Though there is a tune.
Yeah.
But it was a very like from the heart, like very casual kind of thing, and I think that's why, or even something more powerful like the song. What is that song from? I'm trying to think of this Udaynidhi movie with
Aval,
Hansika. Aval.
I was
Aval.
about to talk. Oh, is this you? And I think you are on Mind Reader.
No, I
was
really, I love that song. You know, this
I
is
was like this week. I think this week and last week. I think the song blew up in Spotify.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is blowing up.
Aval.
as we speak. Aval.
Okay,
I'm so happy because it is one of those. I always have these songs in movies where I'm like leaving trails. Like this is what I love to do, kind of a song. Like I loved doing that song.
Right.
And I think it was recorded on an SM58 mic. It is one of those basic mics. Pradeep was super busy at that time, and I sent him like this thing, and he's like, "Machi, I only have this SM58. I'm like, please go for it. I just want you to sing this.
Right.
Nobody else can do this kind of a Tamil. This kind of, there's a colloquial vibe. It's colloquial,
Yeah.
but it has a lot of soul.
Yeah.
And he sang it, and it was just lying there. I was so happy that it released. I'm not bothered with the statistics of anything.
Yeah.
But very recently, after Pradeep started performing the song live, people picked it up, and it is the most played song of mine in the last 1 month. Including all the latest releases, including all the big ones and all that. So it is for me, this is one of those moments that I really enjoyed. I was like super that I'm glad that people are identifying Pradeep's genius and also the music, and they are coming back. I actually sent a message to the director. I never talk about my older works ever, right? So this got me excited. I spoke to the director. I was like, hey guy, he told me the song is amazing. People are going to love it. I'm like, I told him, hey, 6-7 years later, it is blowing up, kind of blowing up in social media, and I'm so happy that that is happening. Even it happened with another, I think one of the themes from Mahan.
Yeah.
It also like people connected to it now.
Yeah.
So I always feel like it's so reassuring as a musician to do actually what you love doing, and you never know, it might people might connect to it at some point,
At
right?
a later point.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I mean, you worked with all the, you know, the big A-list so-called directors, right? It's like, but and they've stuck with you, like Karthik, Subbaraj. You worked with Mari Selvaraj, Paranjit,
Vetrimaran,
Vetrimaran.
Manikandan.
Manikandan.
List goes on.
No, but I'm saying
Sudha
like there are people who stick with you, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like, but one of my favorite combinations of you is with Santanam. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, with
Yeah.
A1 and Paris Jairaj.
Yeah.
I just love those films. They just make me crack me up like mad. They're very funny films, but very crazy kind of humor.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, you know, when somebody, let's say like Ranjit is or Karthik or whoever is delving into one world, right? So that automatically gives you some cues because, okay, he's setting the movie in Malaysia, so I want to get into that zone a bit. Or let's say Mari Suraj is setting his Pariyan Perumal in like deep south somewhere. So you're kind of going for that zone. When you look at a movie where there is actually no zone at all, except comedy, like these movies exist only for the sake of comedy. How do you inspire yourself?
It comes down to the director also, right? So when I signed for A1 and Paris, for Paris Jairaj, the gist that they
Do
gave,
you like doing those movies?
I love it.
Okay.
Because you see, there are 2-3 aspects to life, right? Like one is uh, you are living, you have to be healthy, and then there is all of these things that you need to do, and that's just fun, right? For me, like, you know me, like anybody who knows me personally knows I'm a super crazy prankster. I'm a fun-loving person, and I always wanted that to be a part of my music.
Right,
And I would
right.
never be like, I can always go into this zone where I'm like this, like respected, and while doing this kind of movies, I'll only listen to this. I only wake up at this time and all that. I just want to break all of those.
Right.
I just want to be on the road all the time. I don't want people to identify me. I just want to be going around with much ease, meeting people, play with the dogs, and like I don't want my life to change too much.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I heard Paris Jairaj and A1 script, I really liked. In A1, if you see, the whole script is about this guy who falls in love with the girl from another caste.
Yeah.
And then you have a scene where he gives up non-vegetarian food for her belief. So that is an amazing scene in today's world. Like casually, this movie is representing, and then he goes to meet the girl's dad, and then he is singing one Ghana. That song comes up, and all of that for me. Yes, we are doing a great deal of movies with directors like Mari Selvaraj and Ranjit, and where we say things that are very relevant to today's world and to the socio-political system and what needs to be said. And there's also this where we just casually show it as part of the life, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That will also connect to those people. That's why I loved A1. A1 has that element where there are two castes and each trolling each other, but it never went to a point where they were trolling the caste or where they're coming from.
Yeah. It just plays out like comedy.
It is comedy, right? So when we see this Varapada Kolakar, like this mama who kills people with the banana, nobody trolled his caste or what. There is a popular belief of trolling caste and like other identities, right? That didn't happen in the movie. So I was very happy. So when the director came back with Paris Jairaj, he told me this will be a complete Ghana album. And there's never been a complete Ghana album in Tamil history ever. There was Ghana songs in albums. There's never an album with only Ghana songs. I jumped right into it. For me, it was like my indie album. So we just went crazy. I didn't expect anything out of this. I said, I want to do a Ghana album. I'll be the happiest man as a composer because from where I was before Attakati, and like, Ranjit had to teach me what Ghana and what the life is. He put me on to this family, and I had to learn stuff from them and stuff. So from that to making a full authentic Ghana album, I was so happy. And even that album, it was silent, and I think it blew up sometime later in a TV show somewhere. Somebody used it and people hooked on to the album. I'm so happy for that. I want to do more of that always.
Right. One of the more interesting projects you've done of late is a web series, Fadu.
Yeah.
What is it like making music for episode after episode after episode? I mean, like in a movie, sometimes you kind of maybe have a theme, you know, that because it's all contained within like a 3-hour span, which hopefully people are watching at a stretch, or even maybe 2 stretches. But so at least, you know, they'll remember a tune or a refrain or something like that. But with 8 episodes, there's a lot of chance that the work that you do is going to be consumed over maybe a month or something like that. is there a difference in which the way you approach that?
For me, I was brief history that I have to talk about. Like when I did Vada Chennai, Vetrimaran sir would play me this whole like 5-hour movie, which would look amazing. Then it'll become a 3-hour movie.
This is the 5-hour cut, right?
Yeah.
I've been telling him to like get
Have
it
you
out.
seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. He's like I'll show it to you.
It's like Reservoir Dogs meets like it's crazy. Like it's amazing. So I saw this whole thing. I was like, sir, should we just release this as a web series? And he was also like thinking about it for a while, and then it went into this. Then I actually looked at this whole 5-hour thing because there's so much character development that you can do. You can show where this guy is coming from. There's so much that can be done. And I am a big fan of watching web series, and like I watch at least one episode every day. I've done this for the past 4-5 years.
Like
every day,
with
every
your
day.
schedule.
Even in spite of what I'm doing, before I sleep, I'll watch one episode and then I sleep.
Right.
This is my routine.
What is the last one that you saw?
I'm watching Farzi now.
Okay.
And Farzi, I'm in love with it. Like
Okay.
I spoke to Sedona and I like Rajan. I've spoken to them
Rajan
before
DK?
during this Farzi thing, and I'm so happy for them. It has that neo noir kind of a vibe to it. It has money in it.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
And it has today's value, and it's so well. So I think it's also sync sound. It's amazing. It's all great. And when I watched Fadu, Ashwini Tiwari, she contacted me and she's like, I loved her movies and I also love Nitesh's work, and I was so happy to meet her. Then she was like, I'm going to do a web series. I was so happy. Then they shot it and brought it across. I loved it, and it was a very a long process, a very mentally and physically tiring process, but at the end of the day it is out in the open and we loved doing what we did, and I was very satisfied with how it all came together. We tried to do what I do for the films.
Right.
We didn't sometimes the scale isn't enough, like financially you wouldn't be able to afford doing certain things for web series,
Right.
In terms of music, because there is a lot of production involved. They spend more than 90% of the funds on the, because like it is not wrong to do that too, because you need to have a great visual. So for this we went the extra mile and we did what we could do best for any film. So that is it is like 11-hour film for me. So I just worked on it. It was a long process. It took I think I took like 2-3 months. I think I worked on Karnan for 4 days. That was all the time I had for the score. So imagine that kind of an effort for 2-3 months. It was an amazing experience. I'm so happy for them also, and it's doing very well. And I've seen a lot of comments on
Yeah, it's lovely.
how they look. And also with the web series world, we always find people like identifying with it a year later, like Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
When it came, I was jumping around. I think in 2011, 10 or something,
Yeah.
Breaking Bad when it came. Nobody knew about it. It blew up in 2018 also. So I want Fadu to be watched by everyone. Like it's an amazing experience.
Right. So let's just wrap up by talking about the projects that you're currently doing. I'm just interested in knowing at a very broad level how you approach them and what the sound is like. Let's start with the Nani Sara Dasara, which is coming out soon.
So for Dasara, I'm going super rooted Telangana.
Okay.
And I've done a lot of work, and thanks to all the great writers and the people I'm meeting there, they are like, for me it is like Attakati again. I'm learning from them and learning the slang and all the, it is going to be in the Mari Selvaraj meets Karthik Subbaraj kind of a space visually.
Okay.
The movie. So I loved it. It's an amazing movie, and Nani, he's outdone himself. He's always doing, somehow he can look so different on each movie.
Right.
So I'm loving the experience.
Right. Karthik's movie.
Karthik, so Jigardanda, Karthik, he always, like he was telling, if we are doing part 2 of anything, we have to be so true to our soul, because it is so easy to get carried away with the success and like doing something that borderlines on like just on business or the commercials of it. But he has always told me, he's like, if we do Jigardanda 2, we have to do it right, sir, and whatever, Santhosh. Then he brought me the script and I loved it. It is and Lawrence sir, he can own it, right? Like how S.J. Surya sir can own certain roles, right? This
Yeah,
combination was terrific, and it has a very wide sound range, and it also has the elements from one. So I'm very super excited to be part of.
So it's kind of an extension of the music that you create for one.
Yeah, it will have music from one, and it will also have a big portion of new music in it.
What is the flavor, texture? Like you said, Telangana.
Yeah,
or-
yeah. I would say tribal music, something like what you would expect from Black Panther. Like there is a element of fantasy in it, right?
Yeah.
In Black Panther, there's a world, but then there is some rootedness to it.
Yeah.
That is the kind of sound that I want to explore in that.
Right. You already talked about Project K. What about Mari Solaraj's next movie?
Mari Sola's Vare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to tell you, like it's probably one of the best movies I've seen in Tamil. I'm so happy for him. I always rooted for Mari, and here I'm not. I was so emotional, and I was terrified, shocked, and I had this. I've never carried emotion. I'm like a very blunt person. Day 2 and I forget everything. For the first time, I had the movie running in my mind, and I called Mari. I was congratulating him. He's outdone himself. You know, if you think if I'm hyping you up for Vare, and then you watch it, I think you'll be even more hyped. However hyped you are for the movie, it's going to be a killer.
Well, you hyped me up for Kadasi
I
Visai,
love.
and I love that. So I'm hoping the same thing
Mari
happens.
has like is really, I think for all the young filmmakers who are coming up, soul search, like how I could Corona got me into doing this. For a filmmaker to do this on such a large scale, to identify his soul and do what he does best, and yet connect with everybody, I think the Vare is going to be a game changer for Indian cinema. Definitely, you can do what you do best, and still people will connect with it. I think that is the vibe I'm getting from the movie.
Right.
So for that movie, we are going ultra modern. The movie is super rooted. We are going to go ultra modern, and we have a kind of a new sound that we want to explore for that.
Fantastic. Do you have a name for the sound?
No, I don't know. It's going to be modern. It's going to be in the pop space.
Oh, lovely.
The global pop space.
Right.
That is the space I'm going to explore.
Nice, nice. So thanks, Santhosh. Always pleasure talking
Thank
to
you.
you.
Such a pleasure. I should say it's my pleasure. Thanks for
and
coming here.
all the best for your first concert, your
Thank
first
you.
big concert of your own. And I can't wait to like. Are you going to be putting it out somewhere at some point?
Absolutely. I'm a big sucker for capturing and archiving things, and putting it together as a documentary of sorts. So I'm definitely going to do that. This is going to be we've set up a big team to capture this whole event.
Right.
And as you know, I'm excited to capture audio in a way that is never captured. So I'm trying to create like a plethora of concerts that I do, and probably if it works well, like it should be well, we should be able to perform well. But I just, fingers crossed. I know that it's going to be great, but I'm just saying for professional purposes. So if it all comes together
Mutual
well,
funds are, that is
subject to market risks.
So thanks again, Santhosh.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you. I love having you here.
Yeah, and I love being here, except that getting here is like the, like
That is the
Kolapakkam.
cost.
Yeah, and it's like it has this very amazing name, Kolapakkam.
Kolapakkam.
Yeah.
It is not, it had a lot of ponds here. Kulam.
Oh, it's Kulapakkam.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has then become Kolapakkam.
I thought it was like that, that street in Roypeta, which is called Kolagaran Street. I thought it's like that.
Yeah.
something
No.
like
It is, Mughaliwakam is the Mughal Azam Empire's area, and Kolapakkam is the area where there are a lot of ponds. Even now we have like 7-8 ponds here.
Nice.
We have a lot of water here.
Right. Wonderful. That's one thing you'll never have to worry about. Music and water.
Yeah.
That's all. So cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Experience 10 days of Grand Europe trip for easy EMI of Rs 25,000 only with GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
Wonder Diamond, South India's largest lab-grown diamond brand, stores at Chennai, Coimbatore, Bangalore and Hyderabad.